Hey guys, Paul here. So today I wanted to talk about the really new, exciting announcement that we're going to finally be getting full art cards in Yu-Gi-Oh, or as they've been dubbed, Overframe cards. So first, let's take a look at the announcement here on the official OCG website. This is the new special pack Limit Over Collection. So there's Limit Over Collection the Heroes and Limit Over Collection the Rivals. The Hero set's going to be available in February. The Rival set will then come out later, about a month later in March. And it's going to be introducing overframe cards, which feature a card design in which the illustrations pop out of the illustration frame as a new attraction for the official card game. And for some reference here, official card game stands for OCG. TCG is what we play over here. Usually things that we get tend to follow the OCG. You guys know this, but like some people maybe don't. Anyways, well, the interesting thing about this is that they're going to be 18 cards that are overframe cards. They come in Ultra and Prismatic secret rare versions, and some of them will be serialized, which is a pretty big deal because serialized means that there's like only so many copies made, and it'll actually say the number of the copy that you got. So like if there are maybe 100 overframe Dark Magicians and you got copy number 17 of 100, that'd be like a really big deal. Okay, next thing though is that in the TCG, we actually got official confirmation that this is going to be happening for us sometime soon too. Have you seen the news that cards with artwork extending beyond the art frame are coming? These will be available for the Yu-Gi-Oh trading card game, details coming soon. So right now, we don't really know exactly when we're going to get it or how we're going to get it because typically those like limited edition sort of OCG packs get translated into something a little bit different for the TCG. Sometimes like the Animation Chronicles will become the Battle Pack. And based on how they describe this set, the Limit Over collection with the Heroes and the Rivals one, reminds me a lot of a set that they did actually a couple months back that kind of got translated into the like Dueling Mirrors tin. It was like the Dueling Mirrors set in the OCG or something. So we might get this in like maybe next year's tins or something. That would certainly be a welcome surprise. But you're probably also wondering what might an over rare card look like. Well, I've gone on Google Images to show you guys what they look like in Rush Duel. So Yu-Gi-Oh Rush Duel, as you guys know, it's existed for a few years now, and they actually do overrush type cards. They're called overrush rare, and so like since this is called the overframes, I feel like they'll probably look similar to this. This is an example with Dark Magician Girl, but there have been plenty of others. They've done Blue Eyes White Dragon, and as you can see, it's basically a full art card, but it's really more of a frame break, which the difference being like full arts are where like literally with card games that do full arts, like they won't even necessarily have like borders to the cards at all, or even sometimes a text box. Here, it's more like, the cards coming out of the frame. And personally, I really like this look. I think that it's pretty just cool. I don't know. There's some more like promotional versions of them. Sometimes it's cool because it allows the cards to have connecting artwork. Other times it just looks really cool to have like one card that just comes out of the frame. There's all sorts of ways to do it, and I think that this is in general a very good thing. However, I have seen some people with, in my opinion, valid concerns or reservations about this announcement. The main one being that, well, the Yu-Gi-Oh card game already has a time-honored look, and to change it would maybe be something that might like tarnish Kazuki Takahashi's legacy or just tarnish the general legacy of how the cards looked, because over the years, as other card games have played around with like, full arts and card breaks and serialized things, Yu-Gi-Oh's never really had that. Like, not really. Now, Kazuki Takahashi has done certain cards like, let me see, he did like the premium packs in like 2008 that did technically shirk a few of the established rules. For instance, the Dark Magician that you guys might know about, this also comes in English, where there's not a border around the card art. So like there's been some small instances of that. He did that with a few different cards like Jinzo and like Red Eyes Black Dragon and stuff like that. Like, I'm not going to wait for it to load it. Okay. Yeah. So like with Red Eyes Black Dragon, it also did that. But anyway, so I think that this is cool. I think that while I understand the history behind the Yu-Gi-Oh card frame, I also just think Yu-Gi-Oh as a game has fallen a lot behind its contemporaries. I think that other games have done this and players generally like it in those games. It's something that makes for a really fun and exciting collectible item. It's something neat when you pull it. I think we need something to, move forward from Starlight Rares, because we got Starlight Rares, they were exciting, then they kind of did QCR, and then now new Starlights are basically the same rarity as QCR, and it kind of feels maybe almost too democratized, and I think that it sort of lost a lot of its luster. I was also never a huge fan of how Starlight Rares looked, but that's more of a personal opinion. So yeah, basically, I think that there is a lot of potential here. I think that by making these cards something that anybody can pull, which is exciting, but also that like maybe only so many people will pull, I think that could be fun. Now, a lot of people are also concerned about scalping because, as we know, this is a huge problem in the Pokemon community. And to some degree, like other communities, like Bandai games sort of suffer from scalping, although in that case, it's usually more like low product allocation. And in Magic the Gathering, the scalping kind of tends to come more from like just the product allocation is high, but like people can't get the cards. With Yu-Gi-Oh, though, I think that this could be a concern, but honestly, in the state that Yu-Gi-Oh's in right now, I feel like products sit on the shelves and rot. You can go to any card shop that still stocks Yu-Gi-Oh, and you'll see this pretty clearly. Like there are all of the mainline sets from this year so far, and like we've gotten all 4 of them: Supreme Darkness, Alliance Insight, Duelist Advance, Doom of Dimensions. None of them are very popular. Like boxes of them on TCG Player, for instance, right now currently go for $45. And this might sound like a good thing, and it sort of is. Like if you want to buy a box of Doom of Dimensions, you can get it really cheaply on TCG Player, but then the problem means you won't buy it from your card shop because your card shop's going to charge you something like $80 or $90 for it. Maybe $75 if you're lucky. And you're probably thinking, well, okay, I'll just get it online. What's the big deal? My card shop's just being greedy. Well, they're not really being greedy because these cards do have a general cost to them to every card shop that they have to get from like the middleman provider. And that means that if the cost of the box for your shop is $56 and then they have to add some kind of a markup because remember, your card shop employs people, they have to keep the lights on, they have to pay for internet and energy and electricity and workers and like just business fees and all this stuff, then they're going to have to charge something like $75 for the box so that they can get some amount of profit from it because they stock card games, they provide tables and a place for you to play and have tournaments. So remember, like they aren't doing a service here. If they can't sell these boxes, then they just might not stock Yu-Gi-Oh, especially because like if they're watching Pokemon packs fly off shelves and Magic packs fly off shelves and even like Gundam or Digimon packs, but Yu-Gi-Oh packs don't, then why would they stock these? I think that by making Yu-Gi-Oh packs more desirable, this could be a really good thing because it means that now you'll actually have people trying to buy the stuff. And as people buy the cards, what ends up happening is that everything else in the set that's not like, these overframe cards or whatever they're going to be called in the TCG, yeah, the people that like buy them to pull that stuff, that dumps a lot of singles into the market that you can get really easily. So it means that like you building your tournament deck will still be able to pick up copies of like staples and commons and things like that for very cheap because so many of them will be opened. It just means that not every player is going to necessarily have easy, ready access to an overframe card, but like the point is that they're supposed to kind of feel special and be a bit of a chase. So overall, I think it's a good thing. I'm very excited about it. It sounds like we might get a slightly different naming for the rarity here in the TCG because they haven't exactly confirmed anything. And we still don't know exactly how they're going to be distributed and like to what extent and stuff. I think overall, good thing, but I want to hear what people have to say about this, what people think. So you can leave it down below in the comments and I will certainly be reading and responding. So, yeah, how do you feel about Yu-Gi-Oh finally getting full art cards, maybe catching up to Magic and Pokemon and getting back into the collector exciting zeitgeist? I think it's something that the game's really needed, but I think it's contentious too, so we'll just see. All right, that's going to be it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Pass turn.